Welcome to Unspoken Affairs. Before I begin, let me ask you something. Where are you watching from tonight? Are you curled up on your couch, the soft glow of your phone lighting up your face as you listen? Maybe you're driving through the quiet streets of your hometown, the radio off so you can focus on this voice. Or maybe you're alone in your room, headphones in, the world outside fading away while you step into mine. Wherever you are, I want you to picture yourself here with me. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't just a story, it's a confession. It's the kind of confession you don't say out loud at family dinners. The kind you bury deep and hope no one ever digs up. Yet tonight, I'm digging it up, and I'm laying it bare for you. It started in the most ordinary way, the kind of afternoon that should have passed without leaving a mark. The kind of day where you expect nothing more than the hum of chores and the comfort of routine. The laundry room was warm with the smell of detergent and fabric softener, sunlight spilling in through the tall window, catching the dust motes that floated lazily in the air. The washing machine churned rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat, steady and comforting. I stood there folding shirts, towels, socks, mundane tasks that usually let my mind drift freely. But that day my thoughts weren't calm. They were restless, tangled. I kept folding and refolding the same shirt, staring at it like the fabric could somehow answer the questions circling in my head. Have you ever had one of those days where your thoughts just won't stop? Where everything you've tried to bury comes rushing back when the world is quiet? That was me. I was folding laundry. But really, I was folding the pieces of my own mistakes, my regrets, the parts of me I'd tried so hard to keep hidden. And then, just as I was lost in that haze, I heard footsteps. Light, careful footsteps. The kind that don't belong to someone barging in, but to someone entering gently. Like they weren't sure if they should disturb the silence. I turned, and there she was, my daughter, my 21-year-old daughter, standing in the doorway of the laundry room. Her presence startled me, not because I didn't expect her in the house, but because I didn't expect her in that moment, in that private bubble where I thought I was safe inside my own mind. She had her hair tied up in a messy bun, loose strands falling into her face, and she looked at me with those eyes that mirrored my own. Eyes that could see too much, eyes that always seemed to know when something wasn't right. "Mom," she asked softly, her voice cutting through the hum of the machines. Just one word, but it carried everything: curiosity, concern, maybe even suspicion. My heart skipped and I quickly folded the shirt in my hands, forcing a smile I wasn't sure reached my eyes. "Hey, sweetheart," I said, like nothing was wrong. Like I hadn't been lost in thoughts that had no business surfacing again. But she didn't buy it, she never did. She stepped into the room, her gaze sharp yet tender, the way only a daughter's can be. "You seemed somewhere else," she said, tilting her head. And she was right. I was somewhere else. Somewhere I didn't want her to follow. I brushed it off, made a joke about being buried in laundry, but she didn't laugh. She just watched me, the way she used to when she was little, and thought I could fix everything with a hug and a smile. Only now, she wasn't a child anymore. She was grown, independent, with a life of her own. But that bond between us, the unspoken thread, was still there. And in that moment, I realized how thin it had become, stretched by secrets I'd never confessed. You see, what she didn't know, and what I'd sworn she'd never know, was that years ago, long before she grew into the woman she is now, I made choices that tore at the fabric of our family, choices that left cracks I've spent every day trying to plaster over, choices that, if she ever discovered them, would change the way she looked at me forever. I kept folding. A towel this time. Neat, precise, anything to avoid meeting her eyes. But she didn't move. She leaned against the doorframe, her arms crossed, studying me like she was trying to read the story written all over my face. And maybe she was. "You're okay?" she asked again, her voice lower this time, gentler. And oh, how I wanted to say no. To spill it all right there, to tell her that no, I wasn't okay, that I was drowning in memories of mistakes I couldn't undo. But how could I? How could I put that weight on her shoulders when I'd spent years carrying it so she wouldn't have to? So instead, I lied. I told her I was just tired, so that sometimes the quiet makes you think too much. She nodded slowly, like she wanted to believe me but wasn't convinced. And then she stepped closer, reached out, and touched my arm. Just a small gesture, but it almost broke me, because her touch reminded me of everything I stood to lose if the truth ever slipped out. That's the thing about secrets. They live in the shadows. But they cast long reflections. And when she looked at me that day, I swear she could see the shadows moving behind my eyes. I changed the subject, asked her about her classes, her friends. Anything to turn the spotlight away from me. She talked and I listened, grateful for the distraction, but part of me wasn't really there. Part of me was still back in those moments I never speak of. Moments where my heart betrayed the vows I'd made, where temptation whispered louder than reason, where I let myself cross lines I swore I never would. Even now, as I tell you this, my chest tightens at the memory, because what I did wasn't just a mistake, it was a fracture. A fracture that, if exposed, could break everything I've built with my daughter, everything I've tried to protect her from. And yet, standing there in that laundry room, with her hand on my arm and her eyes searching mine, I wondered, she'll already know? Has she pieced it together in the quiet ways daughters sometimes do when they notice the silences, the strained smiles, the nights you thought they weren't listening, but they were? Maybe she doesn't know the details. Maybe she doesn't know the who, the when, the where. But maybe, deep down, she senses that her mother isn't as untarnished as she once believed. The hum of the dryer clicked off, and the silence that followed was deafening. She gave me a small smile then, kissed my cheek and said, "Don't get lost in your thoughts too long, Mom." And just like that, she was gone, leaving me standing in that room surrounded by folded clothes and ghosts I couldn't put away as neatly as the shirts and towels. I sank onto the edge of the laundry basket, the weight of it all pressing down. Because the truth is, that day wasn't really about laundry, or even about her unexpected presence. It was about the reminder that no matter how much time passes, no matter how carefully you try to cover them, some stains never truly wash out. And so I'm left here telling you this, because maybe saying it out loud to strangers is easier than admitting it to the one person who deserves the truth most. Maybe sharing my story with you is the only way I can let a little of the weight go, without shattering the world of the daughter I love more than anything. So if you've ever stood in your own laundry room, or kitchen, or quiet space, lost in thoughts you wish you could silence, know this: you're not alone. We all have moments that haunt us, choices we wish we could undo. And sometimes those choices sit silently in the same room with us, waiting for the day they're finally spoken. That was my day. The day laundry turned into a mirror and my daughter's eyes became the reminder of everything I've kept hidden. And though she may never know the full truth, that moment will stay with me forever, etched into the folds of memory. Like a wrinkle you can never quite iron out. Because the real story isn't about what happened years ago. It's about the weight of silence, the cost of secrets, and the unspoken bonds between mothers and daughters that even the darkest truths can't completely sever. And that, more than anything, is what I'll carry with me.